turned me to the valley, morning resting on the fields. Every tree still knew my footsteps, every breeze remembered me. The willow waited by the river, just as quiet as before. Some places never stop believing we'll find our way once more. I carried every goodbye with me, every face, every name. They no longer pulled me backward, they gently lit the way. Welcome home, not to yesterday, but to the heart you slowly built along the winding way. Love has changed its shape, yet it still remains. Every soul I've ever cherished walks beside me every day. You were standing where we first met, hands tucked softly in your coat. One familiar smile was waiting, like the answer I'd always known. I leaned into your quiet heartbeat, the place where fear grows still. Some embraces don't erase the past, they simply help us heal. The willow watched us through the seasons, from our silence to our song. It saw two strangers carrying wind to learn that spring could still be long. Every ending became a doorway, every tear became a stream. Every road that once felt broken led us to this stream. Welcome home, where love has learned to stay. We'll greet each morning hand in hand, whatever skies may come, because home is not a place we found, it's the life we have become. The wind moved gently through the willow, the valley breathed in peace. You opened your arms and softly said, welcome home. I smiled, not because my grief had ended, but because I finally knew where my heart belonged. Gray clouds rested over morning, quiet footsteps crossed the stone. Flowers whispered where the wind moved, no one had to grieve alone. Faces gathered one by one there, every memory gently shared. Love was written in the silence, more than words could ever bear. I stood beside the ones still hurting, holding hands that once held mine. Sometimes love becomes a promise made beyond the end of time. I'll carry them with you, every memory, every name. Love doesn't end at the graveside, it simply learns to change. We'll keep the table waiting, we'll keep the stories alive, because the hearts we've loved forever still teach us how to survive. I spoke softly to the quiet, to the stone beneath the sky. I'll stay beside the ones you cherished. I won't let them walk alone. The breeze answer through the branches, gentle as an old refrain. Some promises are never spoken loudly, yet they never fade. Family isn't only bloodline. Sometimes love decides our home. One heart opens to another, and no one stands alone. The kindness that was given to us becomes the gift we choose to give. Every act of faithful mercy, let's remember love still lives. I'll carry them with you, not because I'm strong enough, but because we share the burden. When we share our love, if tomorrow brings more sorrow, if another season starts, we'll keep walking side by side, carrying each other's hearts. The flowers rested in the rain, the wind moved softly through the trees. You held me close and quietly said, I'll carry them with you. In that embrace, grief became lighter, because love had learned to carry it together. Night settled softly through the window. The hallway whispered every prayer. One gentle breath became the last one, leaving only quiet air. The room stood still around the silence. No words could carry what we knew. Some hearts leave without a warning, yet love remains in every room. Tears found every waiting shoulder, hands reached out instead of speech. Sometimes comfort isn't answers, it's simply staying within reach. I'll stay beside you through every tear that falls, through every empty morning, through every quiet hope. When your strength feels far away, lean your heart on mine. Love doesn't leave with goodbye, it stays through time. You spoke about tomorrow's burdens, the funeral still to prepare. Every task felt so much heavier, because the one you loved wasn't there. I took your trembling hands in both of mine, not with promises too grand, only this one simple sentence: you'll never have to stand alone. Grief asked us to keep walking, even when our feet feel weak. So we'll carry one another until hope returns to speak. The kindness others gave us once lives on in what we choose to do. Every heart we've ever leaned upon now beats through me and you. I'll stay beside you their love alive somewhere. The night wrapped gently around the hospital. The stars watched over the city. No more words were needed, only hands holding hands, and a promise made without fear. You'll never have to find out. The road carried us back to yesterday, past fields replaced by city lights. Every mile felt strangely silent, every prayer held through the night. White hallways echoed quiet footsteps, the air was still, the room was dim. Time had folded all around us as I reached and held your hand. Your eyes opened just enough to find me. A gentle smile crossed your face. Even in your fading strength, you still called me by my name. You said, I'll tell her how you've grown, I'll tell her you're alright, I'll tell her you kept living, you found your way back to the light. If love can cross forever, then carry this for me. Tell her I still miss her, but I'm finally learning to breathe. You call me like your daughter, the way you always had before. Every memory came rushing through that quiet hospital door. I wish for one more conversation, one more ordinary day. You softly said she already knows the words you couldn't say. Some goodbyes are filled with sorrow, some are filled with peace. The deepest love keeps speaking, even when a heartbeat leaves. If you find her where the sky is endless, tell her spring returned again. Tell her every dream she left inside me found the courage to begin. You'll tell her how I've grown, you'll tell her I'm okay, that every tear became a river leading me toward brighter days. Tell her I still carry laughter hidden underneath the pain. Tell her every dawn reminds me love is stronger than goodbye again. The room grew quiet in the fading light. Your hand rested softly in mine. You smiled, as though you could already see her. And somehow, for one gentle moment, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye didn't feel like the end. It felt like love finding its way home. Evening settled through the kitchen. Steam was rising from the stove. Ordinary moments held us wrapped in quiet, wrapped in home. Then a stranger's number shimmered across the silence in my hand. Some doors open without warning, changing every fragile plan. Your voice was shaking through the distance, trying hard to stay composed. Some names still carry earthquakes long after the echoes go. One phone call away, the world can gently change. A single voice can carry both tomorrow and yesterday. So I'll come without hesitation. I'll stand where love is needed most, because that's what you taught me. Never leave someone alone. The room became so very quiet, even time forgot to move. I held the edge of the table, searching for the strength to choose. Not to run away from sorrow, not to hide from one more goodbye. Healing taught me something simple: love keeps showing up each time. We cannot promise endless mornings, we cannot bargain with the night, but we can walk into another's darkness, carrying a little light. Every hand we've ever held still teaches us how to stay. Even when our hearts are breaking, love finds another way. One phone call away, another chapter starts. Not every road is easy, but I know where to place my heart. I'll bring every lesson with me, every kindness I've received, 'cause someone once stood beside me. Now it's my turn to believe. The evening waited by the doorway, dinner slowly cooled. I picked up my coat, and without another word I started walking towards someone who needed me. Laughter filled the little house, music floated through the air. Old friends dancing in the firelight, joy was everywhere. You reached your hand across the room, smiling like the world stood still. Once we feared tomorrow's silence, now we danced without it. You held me close so naturally, like we'd known this all along. Every heartbeat found another, turning quiet into song. You became my home, not a place upon a map, but the hands that never left me, the love that brought me back when I thought I lost forever. You stayed through every storm, now every road I walk beside you leads me home. I rested softly on your shoulder, listening to your steady heart. It sounded like the peaceful mornings where our healing first would start. Then you whispered words so gently I carried secretly inside. I think think I've loved you since the willow, and tears became my smile. Home isn't only where we're born, it isn't walls or wooden floors. It's the soul that keeps the light on when we're afraid to open doors. If tomorrow changes everything, if every season comes and goes, I'll keep choosing this same heartbeat, the one that feels like home. You became my home, the place my heart belongs. Every scar has found its meaning, every silence found its song. We'll dance through all the changing seasons, through every joy and every tear. As long as we're still walking together, home will always be here. The music slowly faded, the room grew quiet. You kissed my forehead, my smile, my lips, and softly whispered, I'll always help you find your way home. I close my eyes because I already had. Evening settled through the old house, quiet after joyful songs. You opened up a weather chest that had waited all along. Layers folded with such care, soft colors resting side by side. Every thread held whispered stories, every stitch carried a life. You smiled before you spoke the words that changed the way I saw myself. These were never meant for hiding, they were always meant to help. What you placed in my hands was more than cloth and lace. You trusted me with every season, every memory, every grace. I wear the love before me, I'll honor where I came from, and carry every gentle story into every dawn. A pale pink sleeve brushed softly across my waiting hands. Flowers stitched by quiet hope, blooming through the years again. You said our family keeps living when kindness finds another heart. The things we treasure most in life are the gifts we pass apart. Not every treasure shines like gold, some are woven thread by thread. Some are promises between generations, spoken without being said. I remember every lesson, every smile you gave to me. The strongest roots grow deepest where love becomes our family. What you placed in my hands was a future wrapped in light. I'll wear it with humility through every changing tide. When another heart is searching, I'll open this same door, because love becomes forever when we choose to pass it forward. The old chest slowly closed, the room grew still. You held me close and quietly said, you found your way back. I smiled because 'Cause for the first time, home was no longer a place I was returning to. It was a life I was ready to carry forward. Morning gathered into laughter, wooden tables filled the square. Every bowl and every smile said there's enough for everyone here. The air was rich with simple comfort, stories drifting with the breeze. Sometimes healing wears an apron and serves another helping. Hands reached out to pass the dishes, names were spoken with a smile. Strangers slowly became family, one ordinary meal at a time. There's a place at the table, pull your chair a little near. Hope is shared like warm bread passing from heart to heart here. We don't ask where you've been broken, we don't count the tears you've known. If you're searching for tomorrow, welcome home. Someone laughed about old summers, someone sang a childhood song. Even quiet hearts were smiling, feeling like they belonged. You looked towards your mother gently, peace resting in her eyes. The road that once felt far behind you now open toward new life. Villages aren't only houses, they're the people who remain, choosing one another daily through the sunshine and the rain. Every chair that waits for someone, every light left burning late, whispers to another traveler, love is still worth the wait. There's a place at the table, leave your loneliness outside. Bring your memories and your laughter, both are welcome by our side. We'll celebrate the small beginnings, every hopeful step we made, because the strongest homes are built from hearts unafraid. The evening settled over Dassamri, the bowl slowly emptied. Someone raised a quiet toast to new beginnings. And all around the table, life answered with a smile. Morning settled by the willow, pencil dancing across the page. You sketched the light between the branches, like hope had quietly returned. The lines were simple, soft and honest, still unfinished, just like us. Yet every stroke already carried a future built on trust. You smiled and said, I almost forgot how it feels to dream again. The breeze turned one blank page before us, waiting for the next step in. We'll build tomorrow, one sunrise at a time, not rushing every answer, just learning how to shine. If home is where our hearts keep growing, then let these fields decide. plant our dreams beside the river and watch them come alive. He spoke about a little cafe, paintings hanging on the wall, a place where strangers leave as friends, where lonely hearts feel small. I looked beyond the quiet mountains, wondering where my own road led, not back to who I used to be, but toward the life ahead. Purpose isn't always waiting at the end of some long climb. Sometimes it begins the moment we stop running from our lives. Take my hand through every season. When the path is hard to see, we'll keep drawing new horizons until they become reality. We'll build tomorrow with ordinary days, coffee warming hopeful mornings, kindness lighting little ways. The dreams we almost left behind are waking with the spring, and every step we choose together makes tomorrow sing. The sketchbook stayed open in the sunlight. The willow moved with the wind. You reach for my hand, I reach for yours, and without another promise, we chose the same direction. Morning reached across the rooftops, golden resting on the hills. Birds were singing like they knew the silence had been healed. The village breathed without a hurry, every window welcomed light. Some nights quietly change us, long before we realize. The air felt lighter than before, the river found its gentle song. Maybe peace arrives so softly we notice only when it's gone. Spring knows our names, it waited patiently through every winter we carry, through every memory. The flowers never asked us to forget the falling snow. They simply kept on blooming until we were ready to grow. You waited with a cup of tea, morning resting in your eyes. You said, I think I'll stay a while, maybe healing lives here too. I smiled because I understood this place had welcomed me the same. Some homes aren't where we're born, they're where our hearts begin again. Yesterday taught us forgiveness, today teaches us to live. Love isn't only holding on, it's learning how to give. The river keeps moving forward, the mountains still remain. Both carry every season without denying the rain. Spring knows our names, it whispers through the trees. Every heart that chooses mercy finds a little peace. We'll greet tomorrow slowly with open hands and open skies, because healing isn't an ending, it's the way us. Moonlight settled on the river, silver dancing on the tide. You held one weathered envelope with trembling hands against the night. Every breath became a question, every heartbeat slow with fear. Sometimes love waits patiently inside a letter left for years. You whispered, I don't know if I can. She answered through another time. Some voices never really leave us, they simply wait to be found. Your last words were love, not anger, not goodbye. You caught me more than my mistakes. You still believed in my life. All these years I carry shadows you never asked me to keep. You had already forgiven me. I was the one who couldn't sleep. You wrote about the little moments, borrowed shirts and silly fights, ordinary days now glowing like stars across the night. You said you saw the good within me long before I learned it too. One page rewrote for silent years with words forever true. Love remembers who we are beyond the worst we've ever done. It doesn't erase the broken places, it refuses to let them become our only name. Tonight I lay this burden down, not because I loved you less, because your love was always greater than the guilt inside my chest. Your last words were love, I'll carry them every day, not as chains around my shoulders, but as light to guide my way. I'll speak your name with gratitude, I'll smile when I think of you. The future doesn't leave you behind, it carries your love into it too. The letter rested against my heart, the river kept flowing home for the first time. Your voice was louder than my guilt, and in that quiet night I finally believed what you had always known. I was still worthy of love. The evening settled through the window, steam was rising with the rise. Every bowl was passed with quiet hands, every smile felt warm and kind. The little room was far from perfect, yet somehow everything belonged. Home was growing in the laughter we had almost lost for long. Old stories wandered through the firelight like familiar songs returning home. Some memories no longer hurt us, they simply let us know. Around this little table, broken hearts found room to rest. like ordinary life, slowly blooming once again. She spoke about the little dreamer, drawing dragons on the walls, tiny kingdoms built with pencils, braver than the world recalled. You laughed and shook your head in silence, saying that was long ago. I smiled and softly answered, maybe it's not gone, you know. Some dreams don't truly leave us, they quietly wait their turn, hidden underneath the sorrow, until our hearts return. If tomorrow brings a blank page, take the pencil in your hand. Sometimes healing starts by drawing the life you couldn't plan. Around this little table, the night forgot our fear. Every memory shared with kindness brought tomorrow near. The fire warmed more than the room, it reached the hearts we closed away, and hope sat down beside us without a word to say. The dishes slowly emptied, stars appeared outside. Someone left, someone remembered, and for one quiet evening, grief stepped back, so life could take another seat. Evening settled on the doorway, quiet after all the tears. The wind moved softly through the willow, carrying away the years. I stayed where silence felt respectful, watching broken hearts repair. Some moments don't belong to words, only to those standing there. Then your mother turned toward me, kindness shining through her eyes. Grief had slowly opened space, enough for love to recognize. We found our way back, one honest heart at a time, not by changing yesterday, but by choosing what comes next. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's opening one more door. Love keeps making room for people who thought they had no place anymore. She thanked me for the days I'd stay, for every quiet morning shared. I smiled because the truth was simple, we had both been carried there. You reached for me without a question, your hand resting close to mine. Some promises are spoken gently, without a single line. She spoke your sister's name with warmth, not only with goodbye. For the first time memories sounded like sunlight in the sky. If she were standing here beside us, she'd already call you friend. Love keeps growing through the people who help our hearts mend. evening folded into starlight. The village breathed in peace. You slipped your arm around me and quietly smiled and said she would have loved you. And somehow it felt like I had been welcomed by someone I'd never